Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Beth, and I have a very exciting video for you today. So the original concept of this video was going to be a side-by-side comparison between the new Lisa Eldridge eyeliners. I picked up two shades, the brown, which is called Ground Coffee, and the gray, which is called Cinder Smoke. So I picked up these two with the idea of comparing them to the Victoria Beckham liners. And I also have the brown, which is called Cocoa, and the gray, which is called Ash. So I already did do some side-by-side swatching. I filmed a little reel, which should be up by now. So I'll have a link for that in the description box. But yeah, I was kind of, procrastinating on filming that video for various reasons. And it just so happens that my husband and I kind of booked some last minute tickets to go see Blondie in Annapolis today. So I was kind of doing some research into Debbie Harry and her makeup over the years. And I realized that I think testing eyeliner like this is well suited to going to a rock concert. Especially doing kind of a side-by-side comparison and not knowing ahead of time whether there's going to be a lot of smudging and that kind of thing. So we're going for a very kind of dramatic Debbie Harry style smoky eye. But then as I was doing even more research, I realized that Lisa Eldridge is apparently a huge fan of Blondie. So I think she uploaded a TikTok, which I might insert, which basically said, that's the only time she's ever asked for a selfie from a client because she's such a huge fan.
Get on ready with me and I'll share the one and only time I asked a client for a selfie. I've been making up A-list celebrities for as long as I can remember, and I never ever get starstruck, except for once. So, cut to 2016, and I'm booked for a cover shoot with Wonderland, and I was seriously excited when I found out who it was. It was Debbie Harry, and I was dead. I wasn't even going to ask for a selfie because I never ever do that with clients, but the hairdresser did, and I thought, right, I am going in. And I said, please, would you mind if I had a picture too? I really, really admire you and I just think you're amazing. And she said, no, I think you're amazing. And of course you can have a picture. I nearly burst into tears, but I got my picture and she was amazing. So that's the end of my makeup and my story.
And yeah, she had done Debbie Harry's makeup for a 2017 British magazine, I believe. That was obviously, I think, before she launched her makeup line, but after she had launched her book, somewhere in there. So anyway, so I thought that was a really kind of cool tie-in. So I'm still going to do one eye using the Victoria Beckham and one eye doing the Lisa Eldridge. So obviously we will get to that in a moment. Obviously I don't have any makeup on right now. I just have my skincare and sunscreen on. And because I am going to a concert, I thought it might be fun to kind of incorporate more musician-founded brands. So I have some Fenty products I plan on using, some Haus Labs, obviously Lady Gaga. I think I'll apply their new concealer as well. And yeah, I have some Rare Beauty, and I think today is actually the first day of Latin American Heritage Month. And obviously Selena Gomez has Latin American heritage. So I just ordered the two eyeliners from Lisa Eldridge. I think I will also try to incorporate several Lisa Eldridge products. I don't have everything she makes. I did get a sample of their light range and their foundation. And yeah, I'd gotten some samples of her foundation when I went to her Covent Garden pop-up, I think this past December. But I just don't know if I want to do a full day with this. I think eventually I will pick up the full size of the foundation, and I'm thankful to have more shades to try out. The makeup artist at the store did pick these out for me. So those are shades 2 and 3. So anyway, so I'll kind of table that, I think, for a later day. And we are still waiting on a concealer from Lisa Eldridge. I've heard rumblings that she's registered some trademarks and that kind of thing. So I think her concealer may be coming in October from what I hear. So yeah, I'll revisit the Lisa Eldridge foundation at a later date. I also don't have her highlighter, but I have a good number of her lip products. I have some of her liquid eyeshadows, And I thought I would also use the Vega palette. I thought this would be well suited to the look I want to create today. So I have that, and then I did also get a sample of her Seamless Skin Enhancing Treatment Cleanser, which I might use tonight to take everything off. So I'm very excited to be able to try that out. So I think that is it for kind of the overview. I'm a little nervous to be honest, because I'm trying something that I haven't done before, although I've used, I guess, this style of eyeliner and those eyeshadows before. So I think I'll start off with applying some under eye patches. These are the Ulta ones, which are pretty good. They have that like fabric-y texture. And thankfully it is going to be a pretty pleasant day. The Capital Weather Gang, which is the Washington Post meteorologist group, they have declared, didn't mean to flick you off, they have declared summer officially over, which I'm thankful for. So I think we are going to get up to maybe 70s. I don't even know if it's going to break 80 today, which is music to my ears. No pun intended. And we are going to Annapolis right on the water. So that's always a little bit more of a breezy experience usually. And so I'm just really excited that I can wear like my faux suede jacket. I can wear some boots. Hopefully it'll be a good time. This is the Ulta eye primer. Just applying that in a thin layer. I am not, like, I like Blondie. I knew who she was and everything, but my husband was really kind of the driving force in wanting to go see her. I think given her age, I think this is going to be one of those, like, you can say that you've seen her type things. I'm sure it's still going to be a good time and everything, but, you know, as people get into their 80s, is she 80? Or late 70s, the voice just changes. It's not the same as it was when you were in your 20s or 30s. But yeah, I'm very excited to film this eye look and to try everything out. This is where I kind of come to a spot where I'm not quite sure how I want to go about this. I don't typically do a liner and kind of smudge it out. I think I'm going to be using the gray shades, by the way, even though the Victoria Beckham Cocoa is what I reach for the most often. So we'll do Lisa on the left eye just to keep it straight. Yeah, but I knew who she was and everything, but I wasn't, like a diehard fan. My husband is 12 years older than I am, so that might have something to do with it. And I think she might also be, or the band, I guess, more popular in the UK, possibly, and my husband's from the UK. So I did swatch these quite heavily, so I think I might need to give at least the Victoria Beckham one a sharpen. And on that topic, I'll just quickly mention that both of these eyeliners retail, am I going to focus, for $30, and you get 1.2 grams, so same amount of product. I would bet money that these were made in the same factory, just given the overall style. I think the caps are even identical. Like, different factories can use the same components, of course, but yeah, I would not be surprised. And the colors are very, very similar. In fact, let me go ahead and swatch these for you again. So this is the Victoria Beckham and the Cinder Smoke. Ooh, that one just, can you see that? That one got a little bit too. And these were not freshly delivered or anything like that. They are both very, very creamy, which is my preference for an eyeliner. I'm just gonna do a little swatch. But they do set down. So the Lisa Eldridge is on the bottom. She says that one has a little bit of a pearl in it, but I don't really see it, to be honest. I mean, those are pretty darn close, if you ask me. So they're the same price. The difference is that the Victoria Beckham does have a smudger on one end, which I can never remember which end it is. So that may be kind of an argument against having a smudger, but if you enjoy that kind of tool to be able to smudge out, then that may be a plus to you. And I think all Victoria Beckham liners now come with a sharpener, just a basic little sharpener like that. At one point, I think there was the option to knock off a couple bucks and not get the sharpener, but now it seems like you can opt not to get the sharpener, but you still end up paying 30 bucks. So I guess in terms of a strict value comparison, that may be something to consider. As much as I like the style of sharpener, I always hate actually sharpening it. Or style of eyeliner, I should say. Because I can never get like a good kind of finish. You know what I mean? It's going to end up making a mess. The way I typically do my eyeliner is I will kind of run it along the upper lash line. And then I'll use a BK208. I even got it out because I thought that was how I was going to apply this initially. That's a new one. Yeah, I usually do that and I kind of run the brush along the tip and flick it out a little bit. So this is a departure for me, and this is the Victoria Beckham. These are also not like totally fresh, although they still seem perfectly usable and everything. They're just not brand new. So you can take that into account if you want. I'm going to try using this Refer 26 brush maybe. Yeah, and thankfully Debbie Harry is not afraid of using some eyeliner. So I'm just gonna kind of, I guess, smudge that out as kind of a base. I'm just kind of making this up as I go along. Debbie, she does have a very kind of elongated eye, which I think is pretty flattering on my eye shape anyway. So I'm not kind of going for one particular look. I mean, she's been around for, gosh, at least 40 years, I think. And she hasn't like kept the same kind of distinctive makeup look throughout that time. So I'm just gonna kind of add a little bit more, create a little bit more of a V shape. But yeah, she has certainly kind of inspired a lot of makeup artists and like popular culture with her looks. Like I was, again, doing research, and the recent, was it Cruella movie with Emma Stone, I think? One of the makeup artists' inspirations was Debbie Harry. That whole movie was very kind of punk and everything like that. So I think that's a good base. I don't think two of these brushes, so I might just have to do my best to kind of wipe it off. But yeah, that is the Victoria Beckham. All right, so let's go on to the Lisa Eldridge, and I think I will also need to sharpen this one. So as I was saying, these are both made probably in the same factory. They're both made in Germany. Marlene Estelle said at one point that like basically one factory makes all the eyeliners in the world. I think that was maybe a slight exaggeration, but Germany has been known generally as a place where a lot of eyeliners are made. So would not surprise me, but I'm not familiar enough with all the labs and everything. Like the Urban Decay 24/7 liners, which I don't know, was kind of my first introduction to eyeliners like this, and it was kind of a, you know, gold standard. I think those have always been made in Germany as far as I know. The other thing I noticed that was different, I did end up looking at the full ingredient lists because I was just very curious if they were kind of the exact same formula. The ingredient lists are very similar. They're not identical. And some of it is just kind of the order of ingredients, but the ingredients themselves seem very similar. I'm getting a little bit, I think I got a little bit darker on the side, so I'm going to try and even it out. Yeah, so I'm not a cosmetic chemist, so I can't really say what impact those changes will make, but I think these eyeliners do kind of share a lot of the same, I don't know, people involved, I guess I could say. But I did notice, curiously, that they both have chamomile flower extract, I think, but the Victoria Beckham ones also have panthenol and vitamin E. So I thought that was interesting that Victoria Beckham had those ingredients and Lisa Eldridge doesn't. I don't know if there's a reason not to include them. What I've heard from some people reviewing the Lisa Eldridge is that they are like almost creamy to a fault. I think some people I saw giving like, I don't know, typed reviews or input or comments or whatever were saying that the Lisa Eldridge doesn't really set down, whereas I'm just going to kind of use the same brush now to kind of just blend, I guess, even though these are probably pretty set. I saw some people saying that the Lisa Eldridge doesn't really set like the Victoria Beckham. My kind of initial experience with the reel that I filmed, I'm just going to go with that gray, that middle gray shade. This is in her Seamless Matte formula, and the same brush. Just try and build up the crease, I guess. Yeah, that's what I saw some people say. I didn't find that to be the case when I was swatching them and just kind of running my finger against the side of my hand. Like these, I think, have now been on for 40 seconds. And I think they're pretty identical, really. Lisa Eldridge does say you get about 40 seconds, I think it is. So I weighted that for this, and I think also that, just zoom in a little bit closer, might as well, that reel or short. Lisa also said that I think you're supposed to get 16 hours of wear. So it's about 1:15 as I'm filming this, so we're not going for an all-night kind of wear test or anything. I think the concert is at 6, so in Indianapolis is about an hour away, and we'll probably get home by, I don't know, 9 or 10 maybe, I'm thinking. We thought about staying overnight, but it just didn't seem worth it. Okay, this is a rougher number 15. Yeah, it didn't really seem worth it. So I think, yeah, probably a good 9 hours. I've, like I said, pretty consistently reached for the Victoria Beckham liner. And although I do have kind of watery eyes, I've never had any issues with it smudging or anything like that. So I don't typically put liner in my waterline. Sometimes I tightline, but I might, like I said, go for a more kind of graphic, more intense liner look today. I might also apply more at the end. One thing I did want to mention, I guess, that I'll try to include in the comments, I guess, of that reel or the description. But when I do use the like Victoria Beckham liner, for example, I'm usually going over some kind of shimmery shade. So the eyeliner does tend to pick up a little bit on that shimmer. So if you see any sparkle in the swatch or whatever, that's why. The liner itself is matte. Okay. I might have to do a little bit of cleanup here. I really hope this looks good at the end of this. If it wasn't clear already, this is not a tutorial as such. I did see, I think it was Sam Chapman from Pixie Woo. If you really want to go old school into the YouTube annals of history, I guess. She filmed a Debbie Harry look. I think it was inspired by one of her like late 70s type looks where it was very like white and gray, kind of, I guess, a version of what I'm doing today. So if you want to see kind of an actual makeup artist put together a Debbie Harry look, you can check out that video. And I did try to, I'm going to use that shimmery taupe shade. I did try to figure out what products Lisa used on that Debbie Harry shoot, like, what was it, 6 years ago? But I couldn't find anything on like her Instagram or her website. I even checked her book to see if she had included anything on that topic, but she hadn't. Then going into that lower shade. She did have something on Amy Winehouse if you want a different style of kind of graphic liner. That's not what I'm going for today. I think she just recently posted about it on Instagram maybe. I don't know if it was Amy Winehouse's birthday or like the anniversary of her death. One of those. So I don't hate this look so far. So that's a good sign, right? This palette is usually pretty reliable, although I don't usually dip into that like super dark gray as much. Like when I kind of reconfigured this palette, I took out the gray and the black and I replaced it with the Mauve Decade shade, which is that one, and this from the Sorcery palette. On her website, at least, I think the Vega Salad. I think the Vega palette is currently, I'm going to use this, I think it's called Mercurial, originally from the Sorcery palette, but I just bought the single. I think the Sorcery palette is now back in stock. Just a little bit more of a fun sparkle. But not the Vega palette. I'm not sure if, I think now she's sold, yeah, you can see just how much more fun that is. Good excuse to kind of go all out. Yeah, I don't know if it's on the Selfridge website or Liberty. Know that she's sold there, but I'll see what I can find. Okay. I think that is kind of getting to where I want it. I just might kind of fan this out a little bit to, again, kind of give a more dramatic shape. There's also one of the shades from her, I forget what it was called, whatever the Mauve palette was. I'm just, again, taking that gray shade and just kind of flicking it out at the corner. The Smoke and Mirror shade. I think in her, yeah, either in her Luminous or her Metallic formula, there's like a mauve shade that I didn't initially pick up that I kind of want to add to my collection. Maybe the makeup gods will smile on us and we'll get a new palette this fall. She tends to kind of do like some big releases around like the early holiday time. I think I might actually dip into that black just a little bit. Again, on this kind of fluffy brush. This is the Reference number 15 again. And I'm still using a gray eyeliner after this, so I don't want it to be too intense. But yeah, I think this formulation is a little bit kind of like the Natasha Denona Cream to Powder formula, which is not my all-time favorite from Natasha Denona, but for certain kind of shades like this, like the black, I think it's helpful. It just helps it not really, I don't know, be as harsh. And I typically, I don't put shimmer in the crease, but I don't really mind if it migrates up because it makes the eye look more open, in my opinion. And because I have hooded eyes, it's likely to wind up there anyway. Okay. This is going to look really crazy until I finish the rest of the eyes. I might even apply a red lip temporarily. Because I think Debbie Harry tended to kind of combine a pretty dramatic eye and lip together. I mean, for like a rock concert, like obviously you can wear a lot more makeup on stage. So I'm just lightly kind of running this along the upper lashes. Maybe give myself a little bit of a like upwards turn. But I'm not doing this quite in the same way. But I just wanted to kind of show you kind of how I would typically wear eyeliner. All right, so that was the Victoria Beckham and Lisa Eldridge. Maybe a smidge creamier, but like I said, I think I've had the Victoria Beckham for at least several months now. So I guess maybe I'll tightline as well. Yeah, you can see I'm kind of destroying This is the Victoria Beckham. Because they are softer, like it's harder to be super precise. So, okay. But again, that is my preference. It's not a step I typically take. I am a contact lens wearer, so like I said, I might pop on at the end of the night. Maybe I'll try out the cleanser. Probably should have applied mascara before I remove the eyes, but I will say with this new lens, this is the, I don't know, third or fourth video I'm filming with it. I've really been enjoying it, but sometimes the autofocus is just not doing what I want it to. All right. So hopefully the hard part is done. I have about 30 minutes left of kind of how long I gave myself to get ready. So yeah, so I will take you through the rest of the makeup. My hair's still kind of drying, but I thought I would just kind of let it do whatever it wanted to do today. Okay, so just kind of tuck that back behind the ears. All right, so I'm going to start off with the Rare Beauty. This is the Illuminating Primer. I applied the Summer Fridays sunscreen, which it's not illuminating, but it's, I guess, a little on the dewier side. I do have dry skin, and I think the Haus Labs is more of a natural coverage foundation, so hopefully I won't be sweating buckets today. All right. And go in with my corrector. Still haven't really committed to kind of, I guess, a wear test schedule for all these new concealers, but like I said, I should get at least, I think, 8, maybe 10 hours out of this makeup. I don't remember what the Haus Labs claims. But when I guess, do test out these new concealers, I'm going to try to keep as many variables the same. So like we use the under eye patches, so I know my eyes were kind of hydrated. I use the Charlotte Tilbury corrector, and I will probably use the Haus Labs powder for all of them. And this is the Haus Labs foundation in 60 Fair Warm. I wore this foundation and concealer combination in, I think, my Sephora haul, and I was kind of pleasantly surprised by how everything turned out. I went through the whole saga of, I guess, my experience with shade matching in this Haus Labs foundation in that video, so I won't repeat myself here. Just kind of going for, I guess, a light coverage, since I will be wearing this for a good stretch of time. Okay, so that's the foundation, and yeah, I think it's decent. I'll use the Benefit Gimme Brow. Looks like I got some mascara. The tail of my brow is just kind of disappearing into that eyeshadow, which is kind of funny. All right, so let's use the concealer from Haus Labs. Okay, so this is in the shade 03 Fair Rosy. And this, I think, is one of the kind of matches for the foundation shade that I'm wearing according to their little chart that they have. Again, still not really a huge fan of the way the component and doe foot kind of fit together, but it feels nice on the skin. But, and this little guy, that was my fault. I was picking at something I was trying to kind of exfoliate or whatever, so. And once I set this concealer, probably run some eyeshadow underneath. Yeah, so the Lisa Eldridge concealer, from what I hear, she's talked about before, and I think she has some videos on what she calls pinpoint concealing, which I am very curious to see kind of how that looks, especially in terms of the brush or doe foot or whatever she chooses, because when I reviewed the Dior concealer, which has a very kind of flat brush to it, I think I said something like how good it was for spot concealing. And Live Tinted has, their new concealer has like a rounded brush, which is not my favorite, but I haven't really used it for spot concealing yet. So I'm going to use the Fenty Matchstick in Amber. Blondie did have usually very kind of defined cheekbones. I think she was a little bit more kind of naturally blessed in that department than I am. So we'll cheat what we can. Still not sure if they have reformulated this product. I think they've repackaged it. I've heard some people say that it's creamier now. So kind of waiting for Fenty to have a good sale. They were kind of sleepy there for a while, but I think they're finally kind of getting people's attention again, especially with that new stick foundation, which I did go ahead and purchase from Ulta because they had it was like a unique coupon code they sent out to certain accounts. So I got 15 off of 50. So I'm curious what that's gonna be like. All right, so that is contour and another Rare Beauty product I thought I would pull out. This is the Bright Side bronzer. Not my favorite bronzer, to be honest, but figured why not. And this was the one that they released as kind of a shade expansion, as more of a kind of neutral or cool toned. Yeah, and if you look at pictures from Blondie, like her blush placement and everything is very kind of back on the cheeks, which again helps to give you that more kind of defined look. So I'm happy that a lot of her kind of, I don't know, makeup looks flatter someone with my face shape. I am filming this during the day and the blinds, the window is that way. So even though I close them, sometimes I feel like I'm not getting a fully true like look at my face in terms of the shadow and everything. I think that's good. Okay, so I think everything else I want to use is powder. So I'll go ahead and set the face. Again, Haus Labs powder. Not my favorite kind of packaging, I guess, in terms of getting the powder out, but yeah, and that concealer, like it does pretty well, honestly, without setting it. But I just like a little extra security there. But if you are someone who doesn't like to set your concealer, then that might be a good thing to look into. I also just like to make sure I set really well kind of where my sunglasses will probably hit. And then maybe I'll just go a little bit like right above the brows because I kind of miss that area sometimes when I use my larger brush. So this is the BK103, which I think is actually a bronzer brush, but I really like it for kind of pushing in powder. I might spray some Fix Plus when all this is done. Okay, so that is the face set. I think I will be using this Hourglass palette for blush and highlighter. I don't think I mentioned that at the beginning. But let's add a little bit under the eyes. Just debating what I want to do here. Okay, maybe I'll fully commit to using the eyeliners. So underneath my right eye, just trying to get a little bit there and then using my little flat definer. Not sure how kind of blown out I want the lower lash line to be. In some photos, it looked like Debbie Harry was wearing liner in her waterline, and some I think it looked like she wasn't. I might go ahead and put some on the waterline just for the sake of, you know, testing the eyeliner. And then using a little Rephr 03 pencil brush in that gray shade, just kind of going over a little bit. Okay, and then Lisa Eldridge. Oh gosh, I felt like I had something in my eye for a second. Yeah, the Lisa Eldridge, it looks like it's depositing maybe a little bit more pigment. Might have to add more to the Victoria Beckham line just to kind of even it out. Okay, I think that looks better. Okie dokie. All right, so I'm gonna put this in my waterline. I might have to, very curious what my husband is gonna say of this look. All right, so that is one waterline. And I was just trying to like, I guess, bridge a little bit of the gap between the waterline and the lower lash line. Feel a little bit like I'm cosplaying here. I'd love to see Linda from Glitter Fallout do a Debbie Harry look. I don't know if she's ever done one or not. She definitely has that kind of rocker aesthetic. I think she even reviewed the new, what is it? Urban Decay palette. So this is the Jellyfish powders inside the owl case. And fortunately, I think a pink blush is going to work well. So I'm going to start off with Rose Fusion on the top. And this is my refer number 5. I'm tempted to pick up, was it the snake brush? Because I'm doing a little bit of blush shaping. Because one of my complaints with these... What? I've got what?
That kind of dark eye thing going on.
Okay.
What's it called?
Smoky eye?
Yeah, that's it. Smoky eyes.
Alright. Okay, so... just... I think in this particular variation... Am I going to the right one? Hopefully I didn't go into that one. Keep it even. But yeah, that particular blush, it looks like it's a little bit more yellow heavy. I might try a little bit of that bronzer. I'm just going to stick with the same brush. But I think what I was saying though is that, yeah, one of my complaints with these palettes is just that it can be difficult to get different size brushes into them. Can't say I've ever really found a Hourglass bronzer that I've like truly fallen in love with. Might as well just try a little bit of that blush right there. Kind of pop a little bit. All right. And if you want to see like this ethereal light powder, it's a finishing powder, but you can also use it for like a really subtle highlight. It's just like a white powder. But let's try that highlighter. And mine looks like it's a fair bit of the kind of pinkier. I don't think highlighter is like a very 70s or 80s thing in terms of products, but I try to keep some part of my makeup a little bit more subtle. Okay, so that is the, well, my owl palette. Yeah, I'm not sure if this hair is gonna stay down. Let's go ahead and I'm just gonna give myself a quick spritz with, if I can figure out where I put my MAC Fix Plus. All right, so hopefully this won't like make everything run. And I think I'm actually gonna go with a pretty bright lip. I might do a little bit of, I guess, contouring. So I have a few of her Lisa Eldridge's lip pencils. I think I might go with Velvet Ribbon. And I know her kind of preferred approach is to use the lipstick first and then kind of define things a little bit. Debbie Harry also wore, in some photos, it looked like she was wearing a little bit more of that kind of like terracotta type shade, which I have the Velvet Cinnabar Gloss, which I thought could possibly also work. But I'm just going to apply some of Velvet Ribbon lipstick, and I'm not sure how long this is going to stay on because usually I just can't be bothered with keeping up a red lip when I go out, but and it also looked like Debbie Harry, instead of like really kind of defining the Cupid's bow, she had a little bit more of a rounder shape. Still have a lot of these boxes I need to just toss. All right, so this is Velvet Ribbon lip pencil. It's probably also due for a sharpen. Ah, I got my teeth. The good thing about a shade like this is that it really makes your teeth look white. All right, so that's Velvet Ribbon, which is the kind of true bright red. And then I also have, in addition to some of these Cinnabar shades, I don't think I want to do a gloss. I have Jazz and Myth. So Jazz is slightly darker than Myth. It's a little bit more burgundy. So taking Jazz, I'm just going to kind of, I don't know, contour the lips a little bit, create a little bit more of an ombre so that you have that kind of brighter center. I accidentally picked up Myth, so there's that. So I think that's probably as good as I'm going to get it. And my hair has just kind of dried wavy. I wasn't sure what I wanted to do with it. I think even though I have blonde hair, it's not like Debbie Harry hair, so there wasn't anything I could do to like replicate that really. Although I did use a blonde shampoo to kind of give me whatever boost I could get. So that is my finished look. Like I said, I'll probably remove the lip and just do something more neutral like a gloss while we're walking around Annapolis. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the look, and I will try to check in at the end of the night and let you know how everything wore. But that is the makeup for now. I think I'm pretty happy with how it turned out, even though this is obviously a lot, but we're going to a rock concert. So yeah, that's gonna be it. I will check back with you soon. Alright, so end of the night, and news that will probably surprise none of you, it is much later than I thought it would be. It's about 11:30, so a good 9.5 hours after I filmed that last clip. I think the actual music started at like 6:30. There were two kind of, I guess, opening acts. And Blondie actually went on at, I think, about 8:30, finished about 9:30. And then by the time I think we got home and drove and everything, it is now 11:30. So yeah, that is the kind of 9-hour wear on this makeup. I haven't touched up anything. Obviously the lip has worn off, and I just realized once I got home that I never put on mascara on my bottom lashes. So there's that. But yeah, that is how the eyes are looking. I think they held up pretty well. And as I mentioned, it was pretty comfortable in Annapolis. Obviously being kind of in a crowd, you know, was a little hot, but nothing too bad. I think I got a little bit sweaty, but nothing unbearable. And again, this is the Lisa Eldridge eye, and this is the Victoria Beckham eye. I think they both look pretty much the same. I think there's a little bit kind of underneath here on this eye. So the waterline, it's definitely still product there, which is impressive. Yeah, product on both eyes, and also I think on my upper lash line as well. So yeah, really no complaints. I think the foundation held up well for the most part. Like I can see a couple marks where it's worn off, especially like where I had my sunglasses on my nose and that kind of thing. I do look pretty shiny, and it does look a little cakey kind of on my chin. You know, the concealer itself, I think it looks pretty good actually. As good as anything is probably going to look at this time of night. Like there's a little bit of kind of smudginess and maybe some fallout, but nothing that I think is a deal breaker, especially for kind of this dramatic of an eye. So that is it for the check-in. And I will admit that I forgot to film a thumbnail little clip earlier, so I think I might reapply my lip and powder a little bit and then do that, and then I'll come back and remove the makeup with the cleanser. Alright, so now that I went through all the trouble of trying to perfect a red lip again, I will take it off. I hopefully made Lisa proud, because I know she has a whole tutorial on like how to kind of keep a lifted and not like a downturned mouth. But anyway, I just wanted to quickly also show you the t-shirts that we got. So this is the one my husband picked out. It says Blondie LA 1977. So that's what he got, and I picked out this one, which just says AKA Blondie, and it has the mouth. They were kind of in a bag, so they got a little bit wrinkled, but hopefully that'll all come out. I just liked, I don't know, how graphic this one was with the red lip and everything. So went and saw the band, got the t-shirt, and now I can remove the makeup. Yeah, I The more I look at the shade in the Haus foundation, I'm still not 100% on it, but anyway. Okay, so first things first, I need to remove my contact lenses, so I'll spare you that. It was very interesting seeing what Debbie Harry was wearing. She looked great. It was kind of a like Karl Lagerfeld Chanel almost inspired look. She had like pearls and she had like a white shirt with a black kind of tie, and then she had a red suit, which looked really great. So I'm just kind of trying to remove as much of the excess pigment that I just applied. Is there an elegant way to remove red lipstick without looking like a kid? I don't know. So we obviously took some video on our phone. I'm just going to take the Paula's Choice makeup remover and my Shiseido cotton. This is another kind of tip or tutorial, I guess you would say. This is a biphase one that you have to shake. So this is another kind of tip or tutorial, I guess, that I learned from Lisa a while ago. So I just saturated my Shiseido cotton, and then what you want to do is just kind of lay it on and really just kind of let it work instead of doing a lot of rubbing. And I kind of take my finger as well and just really kind of press it against that lash line. And most of it, as you can see, comes off pretty easily. I do wear a waterproof mascara, but it's not terrible to remove. Might need another cotton. Probably still gonna have eyeliner like in my waterline and around my eye tomorrow. I do have somewhat kind of dry, sensitive eyes. So I'm just gonna, for my other eye, I'm just gonna take a fresh, cotton here. These are the like Ulta Premium Pillow ones, I think they're called. I prefer the Shiseido ones, but this is what I have at my desk here, so I'll just use this. These are the ones I usually use for removing nail polish. So Shiseido ones are in my bathroom. And typically I can get kind of most everything off with just one, but obviously I had a lot to remove tonight, so. Yeah, and this is just, it says makeup remover, so I think if I am wearing a red lip, sometimes I'll go over my lip with a makeup remover as well. So I guess I'll kind of give you my conclusion on the eyeliner while I'm taking it off. I don't think I mentioned earlier that the Lisa Eldridge does have a longer shelf life. I think the Lisa Eldridge is 24 months as opposed to 12. So I guess in terms of value, if you are someone who pays strict attention to the expiration dates, like best after opening or whatever, for your makeup, then you might prefer the Lisa Eldridge. Otherwise, I think from a pure like value proposition, you do, that's the texture of the Lisa Eldridge cleanser, by the way. And this is something that you apply to dry skin. It's interesting. It reminds me a bit, I think, of the Jordan Samuels one. Doesn't really smell like anything, which is great. But yeah, if that is one of your chief concerns, then you might prefer the Lisa Eldridge. Otherwise, I think having the smudger, even though I don't personally really care for it, on the Victoria Beckham might be a greater benefit to you, and also just having a sharpener. I think the performance of both is pretty darn close. You know, it might just come down to which brand you would rather purchase from, or, you know, I picked two of the most kind of basic colors. I think some people out there have swatched both the like the green Victoria Beckham and the Lisa Eldridge one. So you may prefer one over another. They look pretty close. One might be a little bit more blue based than the other. Lisa Eldridge has that like Renaissance gold, I think it is, which looks really pretty. I just want to see if this kind of gets in my eyes. So yeah, so she has that shade. I think overall Victoria Beckham does have more shades. You know, she just has more to choose from. I'm sure Lisa Eldridge will kind of add to her lineup or whatever. Okay, so now that I've kind of thoroughly greased up my face here, I'm trying to think how I want to do this. I think I might just go kind of rinse this in the sink, and usually what I do then is I take a washcloth and kind of, you know, remove any last traces of makeup. So maybe I'll just quickly capture that on my phone. All right, we're at my bathroom sink. You can see the fingerprints on my mirror there. And unfortunately, we're still using my old iPhone. I just ordered a new iPhone 15 Pro Max earlier this morning, actually. All right, so that's how it looks, kind of emulsified. I forget what she said in her video about this product. It does feel like kind of a first cleanse. Like, I don't know, especially if you have oily skin, if you would want to just rely on that. 'Cause it feels like there is some residue, although I think she basically said you can use it as a mask. So I'm just going to take some of the Hyram cleanser that I put in that little travel container. My skin does feel soft though. Normally I do a better job of tying my hair back. All right. So that is it, thoroughly kind of cleansed and rinsed off. And go ahead and do the rest of my skincare, I guess. Yeah, but what I was saying, this phone, and this is a terrible angle, the quality of the video is not, this is the Paula's Choice toner that I love. It's not as good as my husband's, for example. He has a Samsung S22 or something, and it was really apparent at the concert, you know, he was able to take better videos. It's the Kate Somerville Delicate, and the Paula's Choice Azelaic Acid. Yeah, like the crispness, the degree to which he could zoom in, and I think the color accuracy as well. So this phone is from 2019, I think. It's the 11. So I'm very kind of excited to see what kind of improvement I might get in my video quality on my iPhone. And then the, was it First Day Beauty Firming Cream. And I wore Tom Ford Ombre Leather to the concert as a perfume. Seemed kind of appropriate. I just saw that that is one of the options in one of the new, like, Sephora favorites perfume, whatever, in the Beekman 1802 Dream Booster Bakuchiol. They say this is serum, but I think it's a pretty heavy, like, squalene base, so I like using it as the last step to really kind of seal everything in. Back to the main camera here. So as I was saying, I might have to steal some footage from my husband because I think he took some better video. But yeah, first impressions, I guess, of this Seamless Skin cleanser, I liked it. Like, I would definitely consider purchasing a full size. I mean, it is kind of expensive, so maybe I'll pick it up when she launches her holiday products. We'll see. And just a quick little lip oil. So yeah, so I think that's everything in a nutshell. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, a little bit of a different kind of style of video for me, but yeah, I had fun doing it. So as I said, bottom line, I think you really can't go wrong. It's just kind of brand preference, maybe color preference, some of the other little features I talked about, but I think both are great. So yeah, that's going to do it for this video. I hope you guys are all doing well and staying safe, and I will talk to you soon. Bye.
So thank you all very much.